Go ahead and start again now.
Okay, let's see. There we go. Hey everyone, it's good to be with you. I'm Leah Holmes down here in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. I am a retired high school, community college, and university English instructor. Newly retired actually from that gig. Had a wonderful time, got everything I needed from it. And then COVID happened. And it was a good time to kind of rethink, what do I want to do for this next chapter? And so I found myself looking at different options. I became a paralegal and did absolutely nothing with it, although I had a ball learning about the law. And now I've settled into being the manager at the Bay St. Louis Library branch of the Hancock County Library System. So I'm the branch manager here at the Bay St. Louis branch. I've been here almost 2 years next month. And so when I'm not running our summer library program, I'm shooing dogs out of the door and looking for lost thumb drives and things like that. So it keeps me busy. One of the things I love to do is to donate my time to teaching, researching, topics that are timely and relevant and meaningful to the community in which I find myself, and some communities that might be larger communities out there that might benefit from the material. I volunteer my teaching for the OLLI program, the Osher Lifelong Institute, at the University of Southern Mississippi, where I was an English instructor for 20 years. And so now I work for them as a volunteer. I enjoy it. I have to juggle things the same as you do because I've got a lot on my plate. So I'm with you when I can be, and I certainly appreciate Scott and Miss Linda Hamberry reaching out to invite me to be with you. And I've got a program for you, a presentation today that I hope will check those boxes of being timely and relevant and what I consider to be pretty necessary education for a citizen in the 21st century. And that is cyber safety. In my role as the manager of the library, we have scads of computers out here. And so the folks who come in to use our computers are typically folks who don't have a computer set up at home. Our lower income patrons and many elderly have one or two things they need to do on the computer, but they don't have one at home. So they come in, and because they come in to see us, I have the benefit of interacting with them and being with them as they navigate the online terrain of all stripes of scammers and fishers and fraudsters out there whose sole job, right, is to divert them and their resources in their direction away from what they came in to do. That these scammers want their attention, and we're talking about populations who may not have the training or the wherewithal to keep up with what they're seeing and what it means. And so it was born out of that need that I kind of assembled this presentation on cyber safety for seniors, because I see the scams every day in my work. And some of the worst ones I've seen are the romance scams, where people will masquerade as a rock star, a public figure, someone from that elder's time period back in the 60s or 70s that elder might have been a relevant person in that elder's life growing up, and this person is masquerading as that celebrity and starts communicating with them, and then this elder feels that it's really you know uh um David Cassidy reaching out to them, speaking, wooing them, right? um and of course I think he's left us now, David Cassidy, but that's just an example of what can go wrong. And so this presentation was born out of that. I hope that it's meaningful to you. Why don't we get started? All right. Can everybody see okay?
Yes.
See that all right?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. Thanks again for being with us. This is Cyber Safety for Seniors 101, which should tell you that I'm going to try really hard to keep things on an easy, accessible, discussion worthy level. I do not hold myself out as a tech guru of any kind. Um, I'm an average citizen who has become aware of certain threats, and I will share those. Maybe you've heard of some that I haven't heard of. So I do not hold myself out, and I do not offer here today anything other than a basic discussion about very commonplace issues and tricks and swindles and scams that are showing up in a widespread, ubiquitous manner. I will, as I said earlier, before we go, touch on some of the newest threats coming our way. So I have updated the presentation with that information, but please feel invited to chime in or offer an anecdote or your experience with something. A lot of what you see in this presentation, I hope, will be somewhat recognizable. My own father fell victim to one of the scams I'm going to touch on just last year. And it was very, very concerning to our family, to him personally. There was a whole trail of fallout and angst, that and emotional distress that comes with a breach of security. So we'll touch on that as well. Let's get going. You want to? Okay. I'm so glad you're here. This could easily be a scene in my own library. We have desktops in our library, but you see here a whole table of seniors. It looks like they could be taking a class with this young woman in the back. This is a common sight for me out on the floor. When I come out of my office, these are my friends, right? I know these people by first name. They call Miss Leah, they call me over to ask me questions, and that has been the genesis for this presentation once more. So let me move my photos so I can see everybody and see my material. So as a jumping off point, first things first, what we know is that the internet, the cyber world, is a rich source of information, connection, and community for older adults, particularly during COVID, right? We all went home and got on the computer. We were snatched out of my college classroom and thrown online in March of 2020. So, and we remember the quarantine? Remember? We were all supposed to stay home. You weren't supposed to be on the roads unless absolutely necessary. And so our lives sort of shifted to being online and what's there. So a lot of seniors became much more familiar with the digital landscape during COVID. We also know, however, that the internet is still a public space. And so we have to do a couple of things very carefully. We have to increase our awareness. It is not good enough for us to say that we are savvy about the internet and then stick our heads in the sand and, try not to look and ignore the threats that are out there because we think the numbers are in our favor. They aren't, by the way. The numbers are not in our favor. We have to use caution to avoid text and email and social media spam and scams and swindlers. And we want to learn basic tips for protecting ourselves. This is a good point. This slide is a good time to pause briefly and say, my goal today is certainly not to panic anyone, to scare anyone. It is only to raise awareness of what is out there already. So don't shoot the messenger. But I've tried to be very deliberate in my presentation to raise awareness about things that are out there, but the things about which we can do something, right? That we can take action to protect ourselves. Because I think when you raise issues about which there is no recourse, that makes people feel helpless. It makes us panic. It makes me panic. So this presentation is about what we can do to proactively protect ourselves. So let's get started in earnest. Awareness is key, right? We're going to pull our heads out of the sand. We look around and go, what is going on here? And that means we have to get to know the landscape. We really don't have a choice if we're going to engage with the online world. So according to the IC3, which is the Internet Crime Complaint Center, and that you'll want to get to know this organization. It's a government organization. 88,000 seniors, 60 and over, whom we call silver surfers, right? These are our grandmas and our elderly neighbors and our seniors who are in the game of most elders I know have a cell phone, right? They're in the game. And so our silver surfers lost $3.1 billion to internet fraud in 2022. That's a ton of money. That's a ton of people being scammed. So this gives you some kind of context to understanding how aggressive the scamming and fraud landscape is globally. Contextually, this is the landscape that we're dealing with. More than half of all cybercrimes were scams in 2021. Over half of cybercrimes were scams. So they weren't, and when I say cybercrimes, there are cybercrimes of such a magnitude as to target organizations, private companies, global corporations. Those are severe cyber threats. That is cybercrime on a level that is it's hard to get our heads, I think, around when a private company or a global conglomerate is essentially hacked, is virused by some kind of accelerated worm that gets in and breaks apart the programming of a massive organization. Those are major cyber crimes. But over half of those were nothing but scams. Simple scams. So there's like big guns that these fraudsters are going after, but over 50% of what they do was aimed at little old you and me. And that's a lot of attention that we're being paid by people who are specifically, aggressively, and unapologetically going after our resources. So we touched on this. 12.5 billion was lost to internet crime in 2023. That's a 22% jump from 2022. And the FBI stresses that these figures are on the low side because there are so many of these scams. These numbers represent the scams that the IC3.gov knows about. So if you consider all the ones that never get reported, I mean, I don't know that anyone in my family, I don't know that I reported what happened to my dad. If we're just being honest, I think I probably dropped the ball on that now that I'm thinking about it. So, and that stuff happens who knows how many times in a single day in this one country in a single day. The numbers here are just geometrically awful, right? And again, I share this in terms of our appreciation for the landscape. We're going to be real. We're going to be pragmatic. We're not going to stick our head in the sand or paint it to be something else. These numbers are staggering, and they should make all of us kind of catch our breath and want to learn as much as we can. So why seniors? Why cyber safety for seniors anyway? So cyber criminals typically prey on older adults. This is their target group for several reasons. They know that retirees have earned, they're sitting on wealth, right? Retirees have worked 30 plus years of employment, and so they have wealth behind them. A lot of people perceive that if you're talking about our elders, our senior citizens, there are memory issues. They can't remember what they wrote or who they gave information to. That works in the favor of scammers. They don't want you to keep track. And the elderly are good at not keeping track of things sometimes. And there's a perception that seniors are simply more trusting, more naive. They assume that everyone's honest. Remember, back in the day, people were more honest. I'm not even sure that's incorrect. I think people probably were more honest. That is not the world that we're now living in. Remember, we were taught to give people the benefit of the doubt. You have to be so careful when you do that in today's world. And so for these reasons, our older adults are a target-rich environment for nefarious acts, nefarious attempts and designs. But there's no need to have to be a victim of an online scam or an online swindler. Knowing the landscape is your first measure of preparedness and protection. There are smart ways to guard against people who have nothing to do all day but come after you online. There are simple things we can do to shore up our defenses. A good way to think about this is to remember that cyberspace is like a freeway, right? We want to navigate the freeway. We want to go here and there. And there's so many awesome things that we have at our fingertips because we have the internet. We want to explore all of those. And we can do that, but the same way that we would get on a real freeway and buckle in, We just need some strong tools and a little bit of internet savvy. That is going to be our figurative seatbelt as we get out there and enjoy what the internet has to offer. And we should be out there enjoying it, right? I mean, we can talk to our grandkids. We can Skype my own family. My brother-in-law and his family are missionaries in Africa, in Nigeria. And we Skype and we say, we do instant messenger on Facebook. It's like they're around the corner. I see my parents who live 5 minutes by golf cart, way less than I see Sabrina and my 6 nieces and nephews in Nigeria, thanks to the internet. So we should be out there enjoying ourselves. A little bit of savvy and a little bit of protection will go a long way. So some basic terms. Take a look at this list. Are you guys familiar with these terms? Are you aware of these terms? Like, do you want to thumbs up me? Like, how many of you have come in contact or you know a little something? Like, yeah, you've seen these words, you sort of know what's going on. That's good because these are the big players, right? We're going to touch on several of these to make sure that we have a full understanding. And of course, these last two are computer updates, automatic updates, and your antivirus software must-haves. Must-haves. And we'll talk about, we'll touch on Microsoft very briefly, because remember, for years and years, you might or might not know that Microsoft eventually, when you buy a computer, get a new computer, you had to buy antivirus software to go with it. And so Microsoft has, over the last decade, come under tremendous fire for not including antivirus with purchase. And so now the landscape has changed, right? You buy a new Windows computer, and Microsoft's antivirus software is already installed. It's called Defender, I think, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you don't have an up-to-date machine, then you're probably supplementing with a digital download, whatever. But it's crucial. It's crucial. Let's talk about spam and phishing. So we know that spam is unwanted junk mail that is sent out in bulk. So it goes out to 250, 500,000 people at exactly the same time. They're ads, they're we can do this for you, come in for a free tire rotation, come to your pharmacy for this, it's a pharmacy you've never heard of. Congratulations, you've received a free gift card from a place you don't even shop. Congratulations, you've been chosen by Walmart to receive, you didn't sign up for anything. Spam. And embedded within that junk mail are fraudulent incentives and offers. And what is the goal of a spam email? Anybody want to tell me? What is the number one goal of a piece of spam?
Well,
They want what? Say again.
They want information. They want information about.
They want information,
and
how are they going to get it?
I'm going to give it to them.
They want you to click. That's it. You click and you click the wrong thing. That link, that email, that fake web address, you click on that. So the one takeaway, I hope there are several, but the key takeaway that I hope that you grasp today is, when in doubt, toss it out. You don't click and open it just to see. Nope. You don't click, because once you open that email and you click on a link, a fake web address, you one click here, you have a new gift card, you get a free oil change. When you click on those links, when you go to X out that box, you've opened that file, which is how malware and ransomware get downloaded onto your machine. Those links will absolutely jump you somewhere else, but they can also download worms and viruses on your machine. So the big thing we're going to talk about is don't click. And of course, what to happen if you do click. There's more coming behind it. Don't worry. Take a look at this screen. I'm going to take a sip of water. What do you think about these numbers? One response for every 12,500,000 emails sent. One. And yet they still average over $7,000 a day. But you got to think, if you're sending out 300,000 emails, the same email to 300,000 addresses, you don't need very many to click and go to that fraudulent website to equal $7,000 a day. So it's extremely lucrative. And these lists, by the way, you say, well, okay, so there's a list of 500,000, there's lists with 10,000, 15, 25,000 emails. Yes. And what these scammers do is they buy and sell and trade lists, right? So they have a list. Well, once they've gone through their list, they're looking for new email. They want the next 30,000 email addresses they didn't know about. So there are whole clearinghouses on something called the dark web. Anybody ever heard of the dark web? It's like a parallel internet that most of us will never see. And it's where you go to be a fraudster, be a scammer, there's a lot of cryptocurrency stuff that happens on the dark web. There's a lot of drug activity and buying and selling and trading of illegal drugs on the dark web, all highly illegal and constantly shut down, but it's still there. And so these predators will go there, trade lists, and keep sending their stuff out. And remember, they only need 1 or 2 people to be a victim. 1 or 2 people out of an email bank of, say, 280,000 emails. They only need 1 or 2. Because once they have your data, and we'll talk about what data they're getting, what are they doing with it? They're doing a couple of things with that data. And they're not only, and I put only in air quotes, they're not only shopping, right? Spending your money. They're creating what's called, oh gosh, it's escaping me. They're creating duplicate and false identities with your data. They call it a Frankenstein data, where they take information from this user, information from this user, and they amalgam it together to create a whole new identity. but they're still using your information. But the fact that they're pulling in info from these other people and Frankensteining it into a new identity makes it harder to track them. And it makes it harder for us to know about that makes us harder for us to know that somebody's out there using our identity. Because that identity is not exclusively you, it's fashioned together with information from 2 or 3 other people. It's crazy stuff. Okay. And these are some scams that you're probably very used to. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Make money fast. You see travel packages, once in a lifetime opportunity. Advanced free scams promise big money in exchange for small money up front. Have you heard of this scam? Dr. Phil does these on his show all the time, where he talks about if you this fake network. And actually, the fact that my brother-in-law's family lives in Nigeria should be on your radar. It is the hotbed #1 hub locus for fraud and scam activity in the United States, Nigeria, because they're so poverty stricken. And so this is an easy way. There are whole internet cafes for no other purpose than for people to come in, log in, and start and continue the scams that they've got going. And they've got scripts that they pull and they read to keep up with the people that they're scamming. $1 billion business, $2.5 billion business. So you've seen these. One of the big ones is in Nigeria, you send me this amount of money to help me get this big box of money out of the country. And when I get to the United States, I will promise to give you 35%, right? I've got these wire transfers totaling 3 million. If you can help give me 2,500 to pay the port fees or some ridiculous fee, then when I get there in Miami, I'll give you 35% of that account. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So that's spam. In phishing, this is essentially an email that includes an attempt to require your sensitive data. So spam can just be junk mail that you don't want. But when it includes an attempt to acquire sensitive data, like a link to another account, like a link to another website, or a click here, that's called phishing. Because what do they want you to do? Tell me, we just said it. The #1 thing they want you to do is what? They want you to click, right? So they embed these links, and they want you to click to learn more. And that's when they jump you to a fake site, sell you a fake product that doesn't exist, promise you a luxury cruise for a rock bottom price, and bam, they've got your data. They also have your IP address. And when you click that link to go to another site and they download that malware, which is short for malicious software, they can include a cookie on there that gives them remote access to your machine. You might get a spam offering free tech services. Okay, nobody offers free tech services. So when you open that email, it'll say, click here to talk to me. If you've got something wrong with your computer, they trick you into giving remote access, which allows them, where they are in Kansas, to access your machine in South Carolina. They want you to click, and all they have to do to start the scam running to be to successfully get you on the hook. They call it phishing for a reason, is to get you to click. Anybody familiar with, this just happened to me recently. Anybody familiar with somebody asking to be your friend on Facebook, but you're already friends with them on Facebook?
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
Every
that-
day.
Yeah. That just happened to me. And I was getting text messages from my real friends saying, we're already friends, but I just received an email saying you wanted to befriend me on Facebook. So what they did was, I did not have my Facebook account switched to private. It was on public. And that's a number one way that you get spoofed. They went in, they copied my account. And what they're doing that for is to trick my friends into befriending me. And then that little spider, that little worm, gets into your friends' accounts. So they spoofed my account. They got into my account. They copied all my contacts and sent out to all of my contacts their phishing attempt. And when people respond to that saying, sure, Leah, I know you, I'll be, forgetting that we're already friends. Now that little worm gets all their contacts. And why are they doing that? Because of those lists that they're generating, that they use to send out their spam and their phishing attempts. So their lists are growing exponentially because
Always check the wall.
yes,
Always check the wall, because the wall will tell you whether
yeah,
because the wall will the wall shows pictures that are not that they are unreliable pictures.
that's right. That's right. And your friends, your real friends, will start chiming in. I'm getting these emails. This is not you. Exactly right. Always check the wall. Also, your feed, your news feed. But so the point is, things that can look legit or like they're from your friend can actually be spoofs. Someone's gotten in there, and it's easy to do. They've copied your contacts, so now they have that list. And when they spoof each of your contacts, they get those lists. So their lists of people to scam are growing exponentially. Not just like, okay, I spoofed Leah, so I now have Leah's contact info. No. They have all of the contact info of people that I know. So it's exponential, the threat that's out there. And there again, so we don't want to take the bait. It's called phishing for a reason. Okay. And just really quickly, I thought this was a great slide. So here's our ne'er-do-well right here. He's going to send an email over here. You're going to get his email. Maybe you accidentally click on something that looks real. You think you're going to a real website to purchase Robin McGraw's Revelation face cream, but in fact, it is a phishing website that is set up to look like Robin McGraw's face cream page. It is not real. It's a fake Robin McGraw page. You order your hand cream and put in your credit card number. That goes directly back to this hacker. And then he's going to use your account data, your address, your name, your credit card number, its expiration date, your CVV code. And he's going to go shopping at legitimate websites or worse. Meaning, he's not just shopping, you're on a list now. And he's going to buy, sell, and trade those lists. And this is why there are several things to do immediately if you think that you've been a victim of one of these things. And again, you know, my own daddy, my older sister and I feel like we try to be very attentive to what he's doing, but they got us. They got him. So if you want to just scan this briefly, I won't take a ton of time to talk about each one of these, but this one right here, the clone phishing, where they replicate an email you've received, but it includes a dangerous attachment or a link. So this is an email that, again, from a friend that you know, and it can jump you to a site where they're not really looking for your credit card number. They might only be looking for your name and address, because they already have an account number to put with that artificial identity theft is what they call it. It's called Frankensteining, where you amalgam together those different parts of identities to make a whole new identity, so that efforts to track and shut down that person are very, very difficult, because there's no there, right? If you use my name and Scott's address and Linda Hanberry's account number, that's kind of all of us made into a new person, but there's no there for that person. There's no there. They're just out there in the ether. Incredibly hard to track and shut down. Okay, we're going to talk about pop-ups, whaling, scammers targeting high-ranking executives, right? And whaling can also happen to our seniors and our elderly population, because the perception is that those are among the folks sitting on the biggest wealth, right? Because you've worked your entire life. You've amassed your fortune, basically. So I wanted to capture some real world examples. And I just used my own email, this is my Hotmail account. Remember Hotmail? I'm still on Hotmail. It's Outlook now, but I'm Leah Holmes at Hotmail if you ever need to reach me away from work. So here's one: membership renewal, action needed, change of payment, your renewal failed. Sorry for the interruption, but first of all, Amazon doesn't speak like that. Professionals at Amazon do not send an email that says that, right? And renewal failed. I knew on this particular day, I never attempted to pay for my Amazon Prime renewal. I didn't even initiate that, nor was it the time of the year for that renewal to take place. So I knew automatically that was bogus. Okay. Another issue. Do you see this one in the middle? Membership renewal. Do you see where it says customer CJ? Do you see how this is supposedly from Amazon, and this to this customer has nothing to do? Can y'all see my cursor moving? Okay, this has nothing to do with an Amazon address. That's one of your first
Clues.
tip-offs.
Yeah.
Because if it's from a legitimate sender, that email address will be relevant to who's sending it. This address has nothing to do with Amazon.
So Leah, I get those for Amazon. I don't have an Amazon account. It's under my wife's name. But
a case in point. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's very typical. And I appreciate the email, and that's something I always look at is if it doesn't look good, I always take and look at the email. I get emails from Judy Fulmer, our national president, and it's not her. Because I'll go up in there, it'll say Judy Fulmer on it, but I go up there and open it up the little thing and it shows what the email is. It's not hers.
Yeah.
That is one of those Frankenstein attempts.
Mhm.
It's a phishing attempt, posing as someone you know, trying to get you to click,
Respond to it.
She wants
to
me,
respond.
she
That's
wants me
right.
to send her gift cards.
That's exactly right. And I want to point something out.
Gift
Do you see
card.
up? Go ahead. Do you see up here where it says reference number? Do you see this REFF? That's not how you spell reference. The word reference has one F. That is a tip-off. Misspellings, mispunctuations, people who, I want to be careful about how I say this, but emails that have grammatical mistakes from people whom you know to be native English speakers, big red flags. Look at this one over here on the end. Sorry for the interruption, but we're having trouble authorizing your, change it now.
Excuse me,
Cancel.
what did you say about the native speakers?
Well, I'm saying that sometimes when you receive an email from someone whom you know speaks English, they are a native English speaker, and the grammar is incorrect,
Oh.
like grossly incorrect, that's a tip-off. And
Okay, I understand now.
Nigerian fraudsters
Yes.
are famous for misspelling American English words, misusing American Western, our traditional Western usage of punctuation. They misspell things. They don't line things up correctly. I want to point out a couple of other things on this last this square here. This button, change now. Anytime you see in an email, somebody wants you to do something urgently, do it now, hurry, this is your last chance, update now, we're awaiting your response, urgent response needed. Anybody trying to get you to hurry up and click, let alone click, but hurry up and click, that is a red flag. Why? Because they want to scare you, upset you. We couldn't authorize your payment. You go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I meant to pay. Let me correct that right now. No. Why do they want you in that frame of mind? Because when you're upset and panicked and overwhelmed, you're not thinking about the red flags that you're seeing. You're not using your intellectual mind. They've got you so torqued up that you're responding from an emotional place, and that's when people get had. That's when people click, and that's when they get suckered.
But that's if you notice other things too, though, misspellings and stuff like that.
True.
Though, also,
True.
Because sometimes promotional things, we have to remember too that promotional people will push those things too.
That's right. That's right. And if it's a business that you commonly do business with, if it's a website online that you commonly go to, case in point, I get stuff from Talbot's 2, 3, 5 times a week. Chico's. I love shopping at Chico's. I love shopping at Belk. I know who I do business with. So when I get something from Kohl's, I don't know if y'all have Kohl's out across the country, Kohl's or Dillard's saying payment declined, I know automatically I'm not even opening that email because it's a scam. I don't shop there. You don't have anything from me. So I know from jump that I can disregard that email. Something that I'll also tell you about disregarding email, we used to think in the early days that it was enough to just don't touch it. The new wisdom is to check mark. Don't open the email if you know, if you're like, I don't trust that, it is suspicious looking, I don't trust that. Don't open it. Put your check mark in it. Delete it out of your account. Unopened. Because the new wisdom is that these fraudsters and scammers and phishers, there are emails that they figured out a way to put some kind of time released. It can download some. I don't want to get out of my lane because I don't really understand how it works. But the new wisdom is it's not even safe anymore to leave suspicious emails floating in your inbox, living in your inbox in perpetuity. Not what you want to do. Check mark it, go up to delete, and then if you can, if your settings will let you easily block that sender so that they can't even get to you again. Okay, let's look at some more. Oh, cancel online anytime. They would love for you to say, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'm going to click here. I'm going to call this number down here and tell them that they're dying for you to click on those things. This is a link. This address is a link. This cancel online anytime is a link. Change now is a link. If you click on this icon that says Amazon, that is a link. They want you to click, so they're going to give you multiple chances in a single email to click. That's what they want. They're all scams. I got a little carried away with my animation there. Sorry. Some more. Okay, you see this? That's not how you spell the word confirm. Ace Hardware, you're a winner. Well, how would that be since I haven't been to Ace Hardware since like 2022? Congratulations. They didn't spell it right. That is the kind of error that these scammers in Nigeria, that's what they do. Their grasp of standard grammar and standard US English is very poor. So they'll make this kind of mistake where it looks legit, but it's grammatically incorrect. Right? Here's your winner number. Here's what you won. Click here, click on this link. Congratulations. And they've got you. This same ad has an unsubscribe button. Guess what? What happens if you click on it? They got you. You've opened the link and downloaded the virus, and you're off to a fake website where they're going to get you to buy something, and they're going to take your credentials. Here's one, Amazon Prime. Do you see how this is written? Do you see these E's are written in a different font? That's not how Amazon, that's not professional. Look at this word, AMZONE, Amazon? That doesn't even say Amazon. These are telltale mistakes that non-native English speakers commit. And I saw on a Dr. Phil episode, because they've interviewed these fraudsters to learn their tricks, and they told his crew, no, we commit these errors on purpose. Why? And they said, because if they're willing to overlook those errors, we know we've got a live one. Do you understand that? If you've got someone willing to overlook these errors, this message has no content. Okay, why would you even open that? It has no content. That's an attempt to let you know, be careful here, suspicious email. But the Dr. Phil show has reported that their fraudsters have educated them to know that when you see errors like this, they're hoping that they get people who don't care about that misspelling, because that means they're probably going to get more information, and that'll be a live one. It's sick. It's sick. I just got this one 2 days ago. And look at the date. I'm going to move this to the bottom. Look at the date. 2/2/2017.
Leah, I got the same one. How come they send it to you too?
We must have been in the same list, Scott. You've won a free gift. Look, Amazon gift card. Now, do you see these little squares that represent photos? What do you do in a legitimate email when you want to view those photos? You're supposed to right-click on them and say open. But guess what? You click on one of those suckers, you're off to the races because you clicked. Right? This is in no way. To unsubscribe, please send an email with "remove me" as the subject. They're dying for you to, quote, unsubscribe because you're clicking. And then they will write you back with another website, jumping you to another website so they can steal your data. These buttons down here, reply or forward, don't touch them. I'm not even sure what they would do. That's not how you reply or forward an email message. So again, they want you to click, so you get 1, 2, let's see. Here's one up here. No. They want you to go here, 2, click here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 places for you to click. I'm guessing if you click on anything up here, all they need you to do is click 1. Right? They have to be right one time. We have to be right every time. Right? We have to avoid all 12 of these. They only need us to click 1. The numbers are not in our favor. It's just, again, the lay of the landscape. More weird marks. And that's Microsoft helping you out. That message has no content. That means it's nothing but spam. Down here, I don't even know what that is. And then here's another one. Fire TV stick. I have a Fire Stick, but it's not called Fire TV Stick. It's called Fire Stick. And again, it has no content, so I'm not clicking on it. Did these things ring a bell to you guys? Are you seeing these? Like, yeah, you're seeing some of these. Yeah, they're pretty common, right?
But this message has no content. That's a good clue too, to tell people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Microsoft. That's Defender letting you know this is a suspicious email. So that's worth paying attention to. So we know the scams are out there. What do we do about them, right? The best thing you can do is delete an email without opening. And you know what? If you happen to accidentally delete an email from someone that is legit, they don't write you back. They're going to text you and say, why haven't you written me back? So when in doubt, throw it out. Or, still good, reach out to the person. People that you know that you regularly correspond with, just send, don't reply to the email, like start a new email, send it to them, or reach out on Facebook Messenger and say, did you send me an email with a weird attachment? Just double check it. It's a few seconds of vigilance to save a whole, I don't know, onslaught of headache and angst. As a last resort, if you do open the email, you say, I don't know, I think it could be legit. Open it up. Go ahead and open it up, but don't start clicking, right? Try not to click anything. And that box in the middle that has you've seen the pop-up ads that pop up and it's got an X in the corner, which they're required by law to let you X out of. In an email, that's just a phishing attempt. It's just another phishing attempt. So don't click on any dialog boxes to get them. Don't X out anything. Don't touch anything. Because you just can't know what it's going to do. And if you're suspicious, your instincts are already helping you out, right? That little voice, it's already helping you out. And these are things to do if you don't recognize the sender, right? You say, well, I don't know about this. If I don't know you and I'm not expecting an email from you and the subject line isn't something that is relative to me or my work, then you can call the library and I'll have a phone conversation with you, but I'm not opening that. I'm not opening that. And for the record, I've never one time that I can recall decided not to open an email and then regretted it later. Do you know what I mean? It's never one time. To me now, that's just my experience. I've never one time not opened an email and had someone say, why didn't you write me back? Now, it might take me a couple of days and I'll say sorry for the delay, but I've never regretted not opening a suspicious email, not once. And once again, the best practice is when in doubt, throw it out. Put a check mark in the box and hit delete. And if you have the option to block that sender, do it. But at a minimum, delete. Chances are you might not hear from that particular spammer again. Because remember, they're about numbers. They're about live bait. And if you're not clicking, they're not going to waste time on you. Sorry, I put some more of these in really fast. I don't know what any of these are. To you on behalf of, welcome to ED for hymns. I don't have ED. And welcome to is not one word. And this address at Gmail for hymns is a real company. But don't ask me to communicate with you at Gmail if you're legit. Same thing here. They want you to click to jump you to another site, right? I don't even know what this has to do with this address. Here's some legitimate ones super fast. The club at Diamondhead, that's our golf country club. Nancy at Diamondhead, Mississippi. I know her. She's the one who helps with the catering. To you, I am who I am. I was expecting this email. So we're good, right? Humane Society of South Mississippi. Donate at Humane Society of South Mississippi. On behalf of the I am who I am. I know that this is who they are, looks good to me. I know that I am a contact with the Humane Society. I go to their fundraisers. That's an email that I would be expecting at some point. I think this could have been my dad earlier last year. Throw it out. It's just not worth the risk. Remember that clicking links isn't just bad because it jumps you to a fake site that is recording your IP address and trying to get your personal data. It's also bad because it can release malware, ransomware on your computer. And by the way, and what is ransomware? That is a link that you've clicked on. You've inadvertently downloaded a virus. And now if you want that virus killed, disinfected, this company is going to reach out to you again and say, if you want me to remove that message, you owe me this amount, and you can go to this website, you pay me $35, and I will send you a piece of software to take that virus off. You never, ever, 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 ever pay the ransom to restore your computer. No, because then what they're going to do, they know you're a live one. They're going to come back and say, okay, well, if you really, really want it removed, now you owe me not 35, you owe me 85. And they're going to keep milking. And you're going to keep paying because you're desperate. That's what they're counting on. You never pay the ransom. Call Geek Squad, call Best Buy, ask them what to do, bring your machine in, whatever. But you never pay a hijacker because you don't negotiate with terrorists. If the malware is on your computer, the damage is done. Don't compound it by paying them for what they just did to you. It's a sucker's bet. They're not going to give you the software to fix it. They just want you to pay them. And they've ruined your machine. So it's a sucker's gamble. It's a sucker's bet. So you don't ever pay for a myriad reasons, right? Other helpful tips. I know we're over time, Scott. I'm hurrying.
There's no time limit. I said don't go over 4 hours.
We're almost done, you guys. Y'all are really patient. You're good sports. Again, I know it sounds like I'm a broken record. I'm trying to drill home that so much of what happens to folks is preventable by just being aware. It's a little bit of muscle memory that comes from seeing these things again and again and again. And soon you start to recognize the signs and you'll get better and better and better at it. So if it seems like I'm sort of repeating the same thing, in my paralegal studies, they taught us to go at things like a lawyer. You go through different directions, right? You hammer them from different directions. That's what we're doing here, is layering the message. All right. Don't open attachments. Don't respond. Report the email or the phishing attempt. I'm going to give you a place to do that. And if you can, just exit out and hit delete. Is it really worth the risk? If you're already suspicious, if you weren't suspicious and you click on it and then you get in there and you're like, oh, I don't like anything about what I'm seeing, just kind of moonwalk out of there, go up to the top and click delete. Don't click anything in the email. Just say delete. Okay. Don't panic and start clicking things in there. Just click delete. Couple of tips. I know we all love this habit of using the same password in 7 different places because these people don't talk to each other and I can't remember more than 3 of them passwords anyway. So I'm guilty as well. But now computers and phones have a mechanism where it will create a strong password for you. I highly recommend letting them choose the password for you. It puts a little cookie on your device so that as long as you are accessing that website, that account from that device, you don't have to remember a password, right? But strong passwords, as you know, are combinations of letters, special characters, uppercase, lowercase, and special, did I say special characters? Yeah. Uppercase, lowercase, special characters. It's an easy thing to do. You can keep a log, but it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And sometimes you'll get an alert that says this password is shared by other people. Millions of other people use this password in other places. You might consider changing it. Change it. Yeah. Use trusted payment methods at websites whom you trust. I know that I have a Belk card. Belk is like our Dillards or used to be Gayfords or Maison Blanche. I have a Belk card. I know what that number is. I know that that's a trusted site where I use my card. I'm not worried about that. There are probably reasons I should be, but that is one store card that I have in my wallet that I use regularly, right? Don't let anybody put you in a hurry to do anything, ever. Don't respond to emails telling you that your account's been locked. We can help you fix this. This is actually one of the ones that, this is the one, and I said it in another place on the next slide, that happened to my dad. He received an email that said, your PayPal account has been locked. Do you know of this scam, the PayPal, problems with PayPal? Because everybody uses PayPal, right? So the big scam has now become, there's a problem with your PayPal account because odds are that you have a PayPal. They don't know. When they have this list, they don't know that you have a PayPal account, but almost everybody and their mama has a PayPal account. So the odds are, what, 75, even 50% of the list has a PayPal account. So good. So you're reaching 50% of the people and you're making that relevant to 50%, I would say greater than 50%. Everybody's got a PayPal account. So it automatically applies to you. And my dad had a PayPal account and he opened it up and it said, your account has been locked. We can help you. It said, interestingly, don't panic. We can help you. Call this number. And he called. And I touch on this again on the next screen. This is one of the newer phishing attempts. They no longer call you on the phone trying to get you to buy something fake or sell you a cruise at rock bottom, take a family vacation at a rock bottom price, because they know that people are aware. People have been trained. Remember the training, don't ever give your private info out over the phone. So the fraudsters know that now. So now the scam is they get you to call them because they say, oh, so they won't give us information over the phone because we called them. But if we get them to call us, then it feels more legit to them because they're reaching out to us. Don't fall for that. That's the one that got my dad. And I'll tell you more about that on the next slide. But just remember that Microsoft, Facebook, PayPal, these people are not going to call you. ever. I'm afraid to say we're all nobody to them. We're all nobody. They're not going to call Miss Linda in Picayune. Sorry, Linda. We're just small fish. They're not going to call us up, right? Be mindful of calling out. This is what we were saying. My dad fell victim. So the email had a number and it said, your PayPal's locked. Call us up. We can help you. Don't panic. He called. Okay, Mr. Preble, we can walk you through this. I'll need to get to my other screen. If you could go ahead and verify the last 4 digits of your social security number. And just to confirm, they asked him, can you confirm your address for us? So then he gave up his name and his address. And they said, if you give us remote access, we can go in and change the settings for your particular PayPal account so that next time you log in on your computer, you can get in. It was all a fiction. It was all a story. It was a fish story. It was a giant fish story. And he gave it all up because he called them and he was upset that he'd been locked out. And the story was he had been locked out because there was suspicious activity in his PayPal account. So they got him all the way around. So he thought he was responding in order to secure his PayPal account. And what happened is that they flipped the script. He was calling to complete the scam. It's sick. It's entirely, it's a perverse, sick and twisted world that we're living in with regards to this matter. It's just perverse. And so I don't think all aspects of life are like that at all. But this particular domain is just crazy making. And the moment you think you've seen it all, there's a new one that comes along, right? First of all, beware of wire transfers. Western Union has begun cracking down on people who continually wire money out of the country. Because, since 9/11, you can't just wire money anywhere in the world. You don't get to do that anymore. When the wire transfer is going somewhere like Africa, Western Union has come under a lot of finger wagging for facilitating what we now know are scams. And so they're making it in their policies much harder for people to walk in off the street and give their hard-earned money away in a wire transfer to someone they've never met, never spoken to personally, never visited, to a P.O. box on the other side of the world. Not going to happen. So, and a lot of those are romance scams, right? Because people's hearts get invested. And you're like, if you can just send me $250, like if you can just wire it to me, then, I'm going to be there. I'm flying into New Orleans in less than a week. I mean, I can pay you back. It never happens. It's a story. It's a line. Sometimes, even with our best defenses, things happen. Not your fault. Not really. Because with all of these aggressive, targeted attacks, Aren't we all doing the best we know how to do with the knowledge we have at the time? So if something happens, stay calm, change your passwords, contact your bank right away to report fraudulent activity on your card. They might even have contacted you first. Many times if with your I'm not sure if it's true with debit cards, but your checking account is covered, and my daddy was covered up to $500. Your credit cards are absolutely covered. If it's Visa, if it's MasterCard, they all have a policy now guarding against lost funds due to fraud up to a certain amount. If you have lost money or possessions or valuable information, I would go ahead and file a police report, especially if you feel like you were scammed locally. Like if you bought an item at your local library from the book sale, and the next thing you know, you're getting an alert that your card has been compromised. Well, first of all, that was a bad example because all of us at the library are looking out for you and we're not going to steal your stuff. Maybe it was a restaurant you went to at a certain place, and then in that you notice on your statement that in the same city, that number was used to make a large purchase at Home Depot. That's how you know that somebody working at that restaurant captured that data. At least that's what I assume. That's what I assume, or what I would assume, because how else are you going to have another charge in Topeka, Kansas, when I went one place passing through Topeka, and it was to eat dinner. So I would absolutely file a police report to protect myself, so that later they can't come back and say, well, you didn't make it official. There's no documentation on this. Go ahead and file a report, and then reach out for support from friends and from people at the bank, websites that specialize in assisting you, your credit card company, and walking you through what to do. Don't sit there and feel embarrassed and feel like it's your fault that something terrible has happened. It isn't. And there are ways to clean it up. This is a great number, a great website that will help people going forward. You can pay it forward by registering what happened to you. And if you've fallen victim, the AARP has service professionals who are there to help you and walk you through cleaning up your credit if something goes afoul. That's what they're there to do. Here's that ic3.gov. Sorry, I think that's a typo right there. ic3.gov, reportfraud.ftc.gov. He'd say, well, why is that important? Because the bigger database that we have of these crooks, the better. The better we can learn how to guard and defend against them. Going forward, consider assessing your digital footprint. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you're all over Facebook or Instagram, if you're constantly clicking on things, different shopping sites, Facebook is full of great things to click on because it learns to the AI, the artificial intelligence, learns what you like by your clicks. And so Pinterest is one of my favorites. It will start to actually throw up pins, ideas that they know that you're going to be interested in because you just saved 25 pins on scrapbooking. Then you'll discover that when you go around the internet and other places, you're going to start seeing ads for scrapbooking. Have y'all noticed that? If you click on things, if you express interest in things, you start seeing them in other places.
But Leah, that's not all bad, because at least they're trying to sell you things you're interested in and not something you're not interested in.
Church. True that. True that. My famous example is that my sister and her brother-in-law have a farm, and they were in the kitchen talking about the new saddles and the tack they were going to buy for, they had just gotten a new horse. They were talking about the new tack they were going to buy for the horses, and they put their iced tea down and they went out to the barn. They were there less than 3 minutes, and my sister said her phone went off and it was an ad for the saddle that they were discussing in the kitchen. And she said to me, she said, I'm not saying that Big Brother is watching and listening. I'm just saying it's weird. But she had that cell phone. I don't know. When my husband and I have come in and found our Alexa talking to herself about things. If we say something, a word or a vocabulary word that Alexa can hear in the kitchen, what we say in the den, she starts talking about things relative to that. So I'm going like, do with that what you will. That's part of your digital footprint. If you're clicking all over I go to a few sites all the time. I don't do a lot of wide out surfing. I try to go to trusted sites. And I don't do a lot of random clicking. I don't go to a lot of random websites. That's just me. But I have a very narrow digital footprint. I have a private Facebook page. I don't post a lot of stuff to my personal account that has to do with the library. I don't post a lot of vacation photos. Look, I went here. This is when I'm going to be out of town. No, that's a no. I actually have an online business. But even with that, it is strictly monitored. It's just a little digital scrapbook of my glass beads. I'm a glass bead maker. And I have a shopping cart. I haven't set it up yet. So even that is small. So it's just something to consider. If you can delete accounts and clean up that footprint, more's the better. Back up your files, set your computer to automatic updates, block those evil senders. Try to be vigilant, but don't feel like you have to be afraid every day, because you know more than you think you know already. You recognize more than you think you do. That's why you start saying, I don't know, because you're already suspicious of certain things. The new one coming up, and there's just one slide on it, is about our new, more aggressive risks posed by AI. That landscape that we started off the first slide said, know the landscape. Here's some info about the changing, shifting landscape. Very briefly, I'm going to let you read this on your own, and then we'll talk. again, this particular slide, I want to raise awareness. To be honest, I don't know a lot about AI or all the ways or the primary ways, the places where we have to increase our vigilance. I'm not sure that I have a grasp of that yet, so I don't want to talk about something I know nothing about. I found this information, and so I listen to the same news sources you do. I'm learning along with you about this, and I'll have to keep tabs, and maybe, like we said, Scott, build out that next presentation when I understand more, and I'll start to understand it quickly as my senior patrons begin to encounter the problems, right? So it's not just me with my own experience, it's all of their experiences that I have the benefit of overseeing. And so I'm in a target-rich environment for people. I'll start to see the new face of this pretty soon, pretty quickly, I would say. So going forward, as an ending, I would say surf safely, use your good sense, use your increased awareness, our cautionary tips, load up some good antivirus software if you don't already have it, and schedule those automatic updates on your computer. That way you don't have to remember to do them. Most current laptops these days have automatic updates, right? So you can just be assured that your virus protection is up to date. The swindlers are out there, but you don't have to become their victim. Just a little bit of vigilance and a little bit less clicking, right? Because they want you to click. And that's about it. So, and if you have someone like the photo who can kind of put their wing around you and help you when you are concerned, that's the very best I think there is just going to someone whom you absolutely trust and saying, what do you think about this? Because I got to tell you, this younger generation, I'm in the over 50 club, so I feel like I need help. This younger group, this is their world. They were born never not having computers. I remember getting my first Texas Instrument computer. They've never not had them. So this whole world, they know in a kind of intrinsic way that all the rest of us can do is try to get on the hamster wheel and catch up quickly, right? So if you've got someone who can put their wing around you and shepherd you and say, well, here's what I'm seeing, all's the better. Here's my beating heart. Thank you, everyone. That's my heart. Thank you, everyone. Any
Yeah.
I've done all the talking. I hate to talk at people. So please let me hear from you guys, your experiences. What questions do you guys have?
Why don't you just stop sharing the screen and then we can see better?
Okay.
Perfect.
There you go.
I'm going to take the spotlight off of you, by the way. Just
Okay.
all right. Who's got questions?
Or comments, examples, things you've seen, people you know that have happened, things have happened to them. What do you know?
Well, I have one comment on just on spam or junk files that you have right there. Don't just go in and delete the whole thing, because I receive about 100 to 140 emails a day because of various things that I do. And I have some very important things that go into my spam file. because when I get some emails from my church out of Salt Lake City, so that'll tell you what church it is.
Yeah.
And since it's coming out to lots of us, lots of times it goes into my spam file, and they're very important. And I can identify those easy. But yes, just delete all that other junk that comes in. Because I always
Right.
did about 20 of those today.
And normally, once you move a legitimate email out of your junk folder into your inbox, your Microsoft, if you're, or Apple, if you have Apple, will remember that preference and they will not appear again in your spam folder. That, I don't know that that's always the case, but it starts to learn, your system starts to learn who's your friend and who's actual spam. That's a great point.
Absolutely. It even asked me, do you want this to go into your inbox?
Exactly.
And I use Outlook, and it does allow me to block, and I block people all the time.
Same.
You know,
Same thing. What else? What question? That's a lot of information, but
Leah, you talked about how to report email as phishing, and I maybe missed that. Could you go over how to report that?
I sure can. Let me go back to,
But thank you. You guys have fun at Lake of the House. Well, come up if you want. It's my daughter's birthday. I might have to. I don't know. We'll see.
so
Oh, there you
Leah, if you wanted to send me that one,
Thanks, Marianne.
that
Thank
one
you.
slide that I think you're going to show, I could actually put on when I post it in our website,
yes.
I put that on there. So if you'll just do the same thing you did there, like you did for the title
Uh-huh.
page, and I can put that on there
There it is.
right there. That's the one. I took a
Right.
picture of it with my camera.
Okay, I think I have that.
Okay,
part.
there's also this one. This is the next slide. Oops. There's this one. There's this one.
Will we have access to these slides so we can go back and refer to them, Scott?
This is being recorded, so you'll be able to go watch it and
Watch it again.
yeah,
Okay,
you can
that's
go watch it
good.
again, and it'll probably take me a couple of days because I'm actually camping out in the middle of the woods. But I'll get it on there, and it'll be on the link on Oregon FCE, and it's actually going to be on YouTube, because that's what I do is I just link to it, because otherwise you fill up your
Yeah.
on your
Right.
website.
I've
But
used those resources before, so thank you for
right,
that.
and if she sends me this slide right here, I can actually put it on there as a little attachment.
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad to see I taught somebody something.
You taught me something about how to do this, so that's great. So yeah, and again, I cannot overstate the importance of reporting because it helps. There we go. It helps us build out, paying it forward. It helps build out our database of fraudulent sites, of fraudsters, of people who've been scammed, so that we can take steps to address those scammers and report them for further action, but also so that others can be made aware of these scams. And so maybe we click on something we really shouldn't have, and it looked so legit, I couldn't tell, so I clicked on it. That is, again, with the advent of AI, I'm afraid to say that is going to become more and more the case, because the fraudsters are learning that there are telltale signs that the rest of us are hip to, so they've got to keep upping their game, right? So one thing becomes known, they have to reinvent the wheel and kick it up a notch, which is why our anti-AI mechanisms are gonna have to get in the game. And I don't know what those are yet, but AI is already here, and it does help us. I don't want to paint the picture that AI is this terrible thing. There are all kinds of ways that artificial intelligence is making our lives better, and a lot of them have to do with healthcare, the healthcare field. Laser procedures, laparoscopic procedures, AI software capability is what we have to thank for those leaps and bounds that we've been able to make in the medical field. So there's a lot of benefit to it. But, you know, with any good thing, there are always people around to pervert the true intention. And so there it stands. So, but yes, thank you for reporting and helping to educate the rest of us about what's out there. So maybe we don't click on it. If you accidentally, we can learn from each other that way. So paying it forward, I think, is very helpful. What else, you guys? Anything about your own experiences or something that you've witnessed that you're not sure about, or any comments?
Thank you for the lesson. It was a lot of good information and things to watch out for.
Thank you, Miss Linda. I appreciate that. That's what I wanted, was to be helpful.
So I just need to get you to come to this, either our state conference or our national conference. We do have some pretty country out in Oregon, you know.
So I actually have 2 friends, and they don't even know each other, but I have 2 friends who live in Eugene, Oregon.
Oh,
So never say never.
Yeah. Well, I told you that's where we hold our state conference.
Well, I have a place to stay already. So
Okay. All right. And if you get that the presentation on AI, I think we'd love to have you back.
I will start developing that. I can't even, we have some changes coming up here at the library late summer, early fall that will affect me personally. And so until I know what those changes are, and I also feel like I need to do some homework and get up to speed and
Right.
listen and learn and let time kind of unfold for me in a way that my little pea brain can get around it, what we're really talking about. Because I don't want to go off half-cocked and bring something that I'm not, you don't want that. So I'm absolutely interested in doing that, and we'll see how things unfold for the fall and try to make it happen.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or anything like that?
No,
Thank you, Leah.
thank you.
Thank you, Miss Linda and Janet and Miss Tony
Yeah, some
Mhm.
of them,
Thank you, Linda.
and Miss Francis
some of them took off
and
the last
Pat.
minute, but
It's great to be with you all. I thank you so much. You guys were troopers. That was essentially a 2-hour presentation. You guys are like rocks.
all right. Well, thank
You
It was
are
really good.
devoted. You guys are devoted. So thank you so much. And I'll look forward to being back with you one day. Scott, I appreciate the opportunity so much. Thank you for having me.
Mhm.
Come on.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You
Bye, y'all,
Bye.
from Mississippi.